Hello dear student, today we are going to discuss about the feeding management, and this is the third lecture of feeding management, and today we are going to discuss about the feed additives. As we know that the diet of animal and human which contain a wide variety of additives, and these additives are used to improve the efficiency of bird growth, laying capacity, then prevent diseases and improve feed utilization. So these additives are not a nutrient, that means these are non-nutritive substances which are added in the feed, and these are added in a very small amount or quantity, and it is for the purpose to enhance and improve the certain nutrients, or it may be stimulants and also in a medicines. And when we see about the percentage of inclusion in a feed, there is a law in various country, or it is controlled by the law in most of the countries. And here, according to the use and effects and such non-nutritive feed additives, these are going to discuss here. Before that, we should learn about the effects and the use of these feed additives. These feed additives are improve the health and the health status of livestock. Then it enhance the feed intake. Then these feed additives alter the metabolism. Then feed additives also promote growth and production of chickens and also the egg. Then these feed additives used to enhance the quality and acceptability of food. Then these are used in the form of enzymes also to promote the various metabolic activities. Then these feed additives used to phytogenic feed additives, and it facilitates digestion and absorption. So the feed additives are of following type, and these types are according to their effects and their functions. So the additives which are useful in a food intake or selections, these are various kind like antioxidants, then flavoring agents, and the pellets, binders and additives for feed texture. Then when we learn about antioxidants, these antioxidants are all kind of feeds which may be spoiled, but the changes of spoilage are more in fat content type of food, that means especially oil cakes, and are specially prone to antioxidation. Then which is followed by rancidity. What is meant by rancidity? It is a condition which is produced by aerial oxidation of unsaturated fat which is present in a food, and it is also present in other products. Then this rancidity is developed due to the oxidation of this food, and that's why we use the antioxidants. And likewise, we learn in a previous lecture also that groundnut oil cake have the limited period for use, and it occurs due to unsaturated fat, and it get oxidized, and whole cake may be spoiled due to the oxidation reaction. And so here most animals will refuse to eat such kind of spoiled feed, but when the condition of limited food available, they may consume, and results in a digestive disturbance in animals. So to avoid such conditions, the use of antioxidants that prevents oxidative rancidity of polyunsaturated fats, and also to avoid destruction of various vitamins like A, D, then vitamin E and other B complex vitamins. And when we see about the examples which are used in additives as an antioxidant, there are BHT, that is butylated hydroxytoluene, then xanthoquinine, then BHA, that is butylated hydroxyanisode, and DPPD, that means the diphenyl paraphenyl diamine. So these are some example of antioxidants, and the proportion or the quantity which all are added at 0.01% level in poultry feed. Now we when learn about the flavoring agents, we have used these flavoring agents to increase the taste. That means we can make the unpalatable food, that means tasteless food, by using this flavoring agent as a palatable food, that means tasteful or yummy food. And by using these flavoring agents, food become very much tasty and yummy, and poultry birds like to eat such kind of added flavoring agents food, or the adding food. And it is used particularly in various conditions. And when we use the unpalatable medicates or medicines, we add these flavoring agents. That's why the poultry bird can be consumed very easily and very quickly. Then during attack of diseases, when animal are under stress, in such situation also we use to consume this food by flavoring agents. Then in condition when no palatable food is available to feed, in such condition also we add this flavoring agent in tasteless food, and it become a tasty and yummy food by adding these flavoring agents. And when we learn about the example of such flavoring agents, there is a poultry nectar which is used as a flavoring agent. Now we see about the third type of additives which is useful in food intake or to select the food, and that is pellet binders and additives for feed texture. These pellet binders are used to enhance the firmness of pellets. Pellets are rounded hard balls, or these are used to make such pellets. And when we see about the example of such pellet binders, we have the example of such pellet binders are sodium bentonite, then molasses, guar meal, and also we have the hemicellulose and lignin. And these hemicellulose and lignin are combinedly used in a pellet binder mechanism. And also the molasses or a fat and guar meal is also used to bind the pellets, and these are all are added at a 2.5 percentage of the diet. Now we learn about coloring pigments. When we see about the coloring pigments, many marketing concerns have brainwashed due to this coloring, and the consumers into believing that the broiler having a deep yellow colored shank are of top quality. And also a similar situation exists when relative to the egg also, in which deep yellow yolk are considered to be highly desirable, and consequently to improve the coloration, especially the yellow color in a yolk and also in the shank of the skin of this broiler chickens, we use the coloring pigments like a xanthophyll and canthaxanthine. So these xanthophyll are routinely incorporated in the broiler feed, and that's why they become a yellowish color, or their skin become yellow. And another synthetic carotenoid, that is a canthaxanthine, which is added at 2 to 10 grams. Canthaxanthine is added up to 2 to 10 grams per ton of feed along with the yellow maize. And in It is leucine which is helps to produce orange yellow color in the shanks and skin of broiler, and it is also helpful to improve the color of yolk in the egg. So these are the coloring pigments which are mainly used to enhance the yellow color in yolk and also in the broiler skin. Now we see about the additives which improve the digestion and absorption. The first example of additives is a grit. Grit means the small stones, or these are maybe the oyster shell, limestones, then gravel and pebbles. And these are used in poultry, as we know that poultry birds do not have the teeth. That means they could not grind their food properly, and that's why most grinding which is takes place in the gizzard. And this, due to this reason, the grit is added to supply additional surface area of the feed by grinding those inside the gizzard. And the example which are oyster shell, then limestone, gravels, which have been used successfully as long-lasting source of grit. Now we see the Chiletes. The popular example of Chiletes are EDTA, and these are sometimes used to increase the availability and the absorption of certain minerals. And in chicks, zinc absorption is enhanced through the addition of EDTA, and that's why EDTA is used as a chelates. Now we see about the enzymes. All we know that what is meant by enzymes. These are the complex protein compounds which produce in a living cells which cause the changes in other substances without being changed themselves, that are known as the enzymes, and they are the organic catalysis. And when we learn about these enzymes, there are for common poultry diets the enzymes of the digestive system which is cause normal hydrolysis of the dietary proteins, then carbohydrate and fats, and thus no benefit may be expected from the use of enzymes. That means the preparation as feed additives, unless feed composed of a higher amount of barley, wheat, sunflower, rye and rice bran or oat grains are fed to the chickens. And barley to a large extent than a wheat contain compounds. They named beta glucan which give viscosity to the content of the digestive tract. Such viscous material interferes with the activity of all digestive enzymes, and very small concentration of beta glucan, that means only about 0 to 0.75 to 1% can produce this effect. And that's why for these kind of effects we use the enzymes to improve the digestion quality and absorption quality of these poultry fowls. And the example of these enzymes popularly available in market are agrozyme, dizyme, then zymopibas, then prozyme and avizyme. These are the example of enzymes. Then probiotics. Probiotics are live cultures of useful bacteria, and these are used along with the medicine and in which they were grown. And when we see about the example of this probiotic, that means the good bacteria, which are especially the lactobacillus and streptococcus. And the reasoning behind the use of this probiotic is that the ingestion of these organisms would lend an increase in their number in the digestive tract, and their dominancy would reduce the population of bad bacteria or undesirable organisms like E. coli, and thus save the birds from the toxins. And that's why you use we use the probiotics like lactobacillus and streptococcus. Then the antibiotics. Antibiotics are also used to improve the digestion and absorption. These are the substances which are mainly found or mainly produced by the living organisms such as molds, bacteria and green plants. By these substances we make or we produce the antibiotics, and these antibiotics inhibit the growth nutrient which are destroying organism and while promote the growth organisms which are nutrient producing organisms. Then these are increase feed or water intake. Then these antibiotics also help to kill or inhibit the pathogenic organisms. And not only this, but also these improve the digestion and subsequently the absorption of certain nutrients. So these are the uses of antibiotics. Now we see about the additives which are alter the metabolism. And when we learn about the alteration of metabolism through the additives, mainly here the hormones are used to alter the metabolism, and these hormones are the chemicals which are released by a specific area of the body and that they transported to the another part of the body, and the target organ is different than the synthesizing organ, and this region within an animal where they elect a physiological response. So these hormonal preparations are added in the diet of chicken with a view to bring about the desirable metabolic changes, so that increased egg production or carcass fat deposition in bird could be achieved. These fall into about following four categories like anabolic compounds, estrogen, and then progesterone, diensterol, then thyroxine. These are some hormones which are used the alteration of metabolism. Now we see about the additives which are having the health effect or health status. In that, first the antifungal additives. Antifungal additives which are the agents that destroy the fungi, and these are work on the different stages or the feeding chain or the different feeding chain stages, like in the field before harvesting we can use antifungal additives, then during the storage of food we can use these antifungal additives by mixing of food, then within the animal itself we can use antifungal additives. And more popular antifungal additives are sodium propionate, sodium benzoate, then nystatin and copper sulfate. These are the antifungal additives. And next antifungal or the additives which affect health status is anticoccidial. Anticoccidial is a drug which is used to control the coccidial infection, and which is a parasitic disease caused by microscopic protozoan organisms which is known as the coccidia. That means by avoiding the infection or contamination by this protozoan coccidia, we use the anticoccidial drugs. And when we see about the examples of these anticoccidial drugs, we have bifuran supplement, then Amprol 25, Ambazine and Zonamix. These are the anticoccidial drugs which are used to control the coccidial infection. Then furazolidone is also a type of anticoccidial drug. Now third type of additives is the anti-helminthic drugs. As name itself indicate that anti-helminthic drug means which control the helminths or the worms, and these anti-helminthic drugs are used in chickens which are subject to infection. As we know that uh, poultry birds are also known as the scavenger. That means they eat a very wide variety of food, and which include the parasites and other infectious agents. And that's why we use the antihelminthic drugs for external parasite, which can be eliminated by the use of available insecticides. Then likewise, initial worm can also be killed or expelled by feeding suitable wormy fox or the wormers. Then these antihelminths generally require more than one administration. That means antihelminthic drugs can be used for 2 to 3 times, and the first administration kill those worms which are present in the body. Then a subsequent wormings kill those worms which hatch from egg after the initial dose. So these are some additives which are used for various purposes. Thank you.